Hey there. No better feeling than walking out to the garden, having it looking so cute. I accidentally forgot to take the umbrella down. So I figured I'd better come out here and put this umbrella down in case. I don't think we're supposed to get any thunderstorms tonight, but we've been getting quite a lot of like nighttime, evening thunderstorms. Although tonight is beautifully clear. Actually, I've got a really gorgeous moon. Look at that up there above the trees, just absolutely beautiful. And we had a really gorgeous day out in the garden. I got out a little bit, just kind of checking on things, and the zinnias are looking gorgeous. The sunflowers are looking beautiful. It's sort of starting to feel a little bit like a garden. Like it's finally taking off just a little bit, which is, you know, it just feels good after a very unusual spring. And when I was out here earlier, hanging out with the girls under the umbrella, I did notice that finally we have a zucchini sprouting. So, remember that little sunstripe zucchini that I planted just, oh my gosh, like what? It would have been a few days ago now. Probably a little different via YouTube time. Look at that. It's sprouting, and actually I think this one over here is sprouting too. So I don't know, they're a little close together. I'm gonna have to see what I think about letting both of them grow. I might just kind of give them a minute and then maybe take out one, because I do actually really want to get zucchini. It's really funny when you see all the people with their, you know, memes and reels about like being overrun with zucchini, and everyone's kind of like a joke, right? Like that the summer garden, you know, people don't like you. They like leave their zucchini on your, you know, front porch. Like it's definitely a joke. But for me, it's always been kind of one of those plants that I like really struggle to grow. If you are a container gardener, which I have been almost exclusively a container gardener really for the last 5 or so years that I've been really sort of seriously gardening on my own, zucchini are really hard to grow in containers. Like zucchinis, melons, pumpkins, anything like that, it's not easy to grow in containers. Now I have grown them, and I have had I've been able to harvest a couple, and I've actually had some plants that were doing pretty well, and then like vine borers or something would get into them, and so then they would be kind of, you know, then I would lose them. So I've actually just never been in a situation where I've had too much zucchini. The only one time that I've had that position was I had one year I did like an allotment garden, like a community garden with one of my friends, and we planted, actually I think it was the lemon zucchini from Baker Creek. I actually think I still have the seeds, which are years and years old. I should probably order some new ones for next year. But the lemon zucchini and the sunburst patty pan squash or lemon squash, anyways, grew them like in this in-ground garden that had been, the person before us had maintained this garden beautifully, and the soil was just incredible. And those zucchini, full sun, incredible soil, like they grew like no one's business, and that was pretty amazing. That was cool to see, and I'm glad I had that experience, because at least like I know it's possible for me to do it. So we'll see here. I mean, this is fresh potting soil. It is a container technically, but it's fresh potting soil. You know, maybe it'll grow. I'm really like putting all of my hopes and dreams for zucchini into this plant for the summer. Also, the little zinnias, these I think were the lily-put zinnias that I planted next to it. They're all coming up. And as I said in the last video, they sprouted in like 24 hours. That was pretty incredible. That was pretty quick. So pretty neat. Oh my gosh. I just went for a walk, trying to do some exercise that's not just gardening, and now I feel like I'm a little winded. But I'm actually just like loving this space out here. I think it looks so cute. What I think for now, I'm just gonna let the containers that were gonna be the big water gardens, they're leaking. The leak is very slow, but they're leaking. So I'm kind of letting the water drain out of those. And then I think I might look at doing some different kind of planting situations in them. I've got some ideas that I think might be cool, and so I've got some plans. I gotta make sure though that no tadpoles get in here, because these containers are full of tadpoles. There's one little guy that's come to the top, but you can see there's a bunch of them on the bottom of the trough. They're just everywhere, and all along, look at them all on the side. Can you see all the spots? Those are all tadpoles. I'm not exactly sure what's gonna happen when they all become frogs, but I put like these logs next to the troughs, so at least if they want to get out, you know, they can do that, and we'll just have to see, because they're all full. You can't really see right now because it's dark. This elephant ear, I should probably like lift it up, because I don't know that it wants to have its actual stem wet. But again, here's my issue. There's all these tadpoles are living like in and around the stem. So I'm nervous about if I pick it up, how am I gonna get all the, you know, the tadpoles out of here when I pick it up? And I just can't bring myself to harm a single tadpole. So I hope the elephant ear is okay. We'll see if it survives. I mean, it's growing a new leaf, so, you know, I don't know, maybe. Also harvested the first strawberry off my little strawberry containers. I actually kind of love this, just having like these little edible containers, like, you know, containers with edibles in them. I think it's kind of fun to mix and match and have different stuff happening in the garden. Eventually, I think I'm just gonna fill tons of containers all around this tree and everything, and just have a lot of my containers out here. I spend a lot of time kind of like thinking about options for my garden. And so one of my thoughts is like, do I wanna do all my containers up on the patio close to the house? I mean, I wanna do some, because I like to look at them out my like kitchen window, and obviously like when I'm sitting out on my patio, I wanna like look at the containers, but I also, like, it's nice back here where I have the hose and this is a seating area now. So I can come back here and sit and be surrounded by beautiful containers and have this be like my container garden and my in-ground garden and all kinds of, like, this is just my like creative space back here. So I'm thinking about maybe next year I'll bring out some of the containers that I have up on the patio and put them out here. And then I'm thinking that possibly in these big troughs, one of my ideas is to use it as kind of like a test run area where I can, before I put perennials in ground, I can bring them in from the garden center and just either pop them up or just put them out here and enjoy them like while they're peak season, and then plant them out into landscaping and having kind of like a rotating, almost like what people do with like a, you know, people get like a flower cart and they'll put like the seasonal perennials, at the garden center, they'll have like the seasonal perennials and annuals that look their very best, like in those carts, and then they'll rotate them through. And I almost am thinking like maybe I'll do something like that with those troughs. I don't know yet. So those are some of my my ideas. The other thing I wanted to chat with you about tonight, and the sun's almost going down, so we'll see how long I make it out here, and the bugs are kind of coming out. Although the tadpoles with the tadpoles in the little trough planters, I have not gotten any mosquito minnows yet, because I think the tadpoles are taking care of all of the mosquito larvae, because there are absolutely no mosquito larvae. I've been checking. I've been really kind of like keeping on top of that, because I don't want to just have a mosquito breeding ground. That would just like, no, we don't need that. Absolutely not. And I've been pleasantly surprised to see that there are none, just none in there. Or it's like the mama frog that's somewhere around here that I don't see. I've not seen what frog is laying all these eggs, so I don't know. But anyways, that's been good. But what I'm come out here to talk about is, so I am all day, I spent looking at different seeds and getting ready to place. I want to order some garlic for the fall. So if you want to grow garlic this fall, we want to order that. I need to look through my seed collection and see what fall crops I still have, because end of July, I want to start kale, spinach, some lettuce, collards. I think I'm going to try to do some cauliflower and just see what happens. So I got to make sure I have I don't know if I have cauliflower seeds. I don't think I'm going to do broccoli, although I might. And I'm not going to do Brussels sprouts because I don't know. I'll do those a different year. I'm not going to try Brussels sprouts. I'll probably just spinach, kale, lettuce, collard greens. Collard greens are great. I love them. They grow super well here in Virginia. I don't know if it's like our particular southern climate or what it is, but collard greens are great. I like the Morris heading collards. I get those seeds from Baker Creek, and I really like those, and that's probably what I have seeds for. It's probably what I'll grow. I may do some root vegetables, so I'm gonna have to go see what kind of carrots I have. I don't have an ideal carrot location right now because obviously most of my beds are pretty shallow when it comes to the soil. That's been like one of the issues this year. So I may or may not do carrots, but maybe I might even do some of those like really small little round, what do they call? Are they Parisian carrots? The little round ones that are like this big around. I think it might be fun to do something like that. Now, cold weather crops that I'm not going to try to do in the fall that I will do in the spring are going to be snap peas and radishes. Our falls are pretty warm, relatively. I mean, like our last frost is end of October, and it can stay fairly warm, or at least have like, dips in temperature and have pretty warm temperatures all the way up through till that first frost. Did I say last frost? The first frost at the end of October. So, it doesn't work for all the cold weather things. I've had really good luck with the leafy greens that I was talking about. Actually, Swiss chard is another one that I'm going to grow. And they'll just grow mostly through all the winter. They don't mind the frost, and they do a little bit better with some of that heat. Radishes and peas, every time I've tried to start them for the fall garden, they just haven't even taken off. It's just been too warm for them. So I don't even worry about getting like seeds for them. I've never had space really to do anything kind of crazy as far as like rutabagas or turnips or any parsnips, anything like that. So I may, if I get really inspired and like see the seeds, you never know, I may, but I think I'm going to try to focus on just those staples. I may also get some cover crop. Think about maybe getting like a pea cover crop, field peas or something. If I have any of these beds that I'm not going to plant something that I want to, harvest over the winter, just throwing a cover crop down to try to, one, suppress any weed pressure, and two, to help feed the soil, because I'm in a building soil phase. So peas are a good nitrogen fixer. They're going to really, add a lot of benefit to the soil. I could also just do like some kind of beans as well, kind of similar philosophy, and just know that I'm going to be like putting the debris from those plants just like back into the soil. The other seeds that I'm going to look at, I have a bunch of them, and I may order a few more, but I have a bunch, are violas, and I want to do in the front garden, especially probably back here too. I want to do, I think I hear some deer in the woods. I want to do violas. So I think I'm going to start some of those. So the reason I'm thinking about all of these fall crops is that I'm going to start I don't know if I said this, I'm going to start them all at the end of July. So last week of July or so, I'm going to start a bunch of them. I'm going to start a ton of violas for my fall winter garden. The violas are really cool because every time I've grown violas, they just grow all winter long, and they bloom all winter long. Our winters do not get cold and snowy enough typically to cause any issue, although last winter was kind of crazy. We got a ton of snow, way more than normal. So that might have, I don't know what that would have done to the violas, but if we have our more normal weather, we should be really good for violas. So I want to start a ton to fill up those beds. And it's just so cost effective to start them from seed. And honestly, violas grow super easy from seed. They germinate pretty well. They're relatively like easy to take care of. And then once you plant them in the ground, they just take off. Like they're just a great fall, winter plant. Add some flowers to your garden, like why not? The other thing I'm looking at, in addition, for my end of July planting, is I may start some perennials. So I've done this before, and it's a really like nice way to get a jump start on your perennials. If you have any perennial plants that you want to grow, things that you would like, I'm going to start, in January, whatever. If you start them in July, they'll get started. You can grow them over the rest of the summer through the fall. At least for me in my zone, this has worked, to grow them over the rest of the fall, and then just leave them outside, let them winter over in their pots. Use nice big pot, like reasonable sized pots, so they have plenty of soil. But I've like wintered them over in like an unheated greenhouse, or depending on your temperatures, maybe even outside, somewhere where they're not going to get disturbed, because they are going to be little seedlings. So you don't want them somewhere where squirrels are going to be digging them up a bunch or anything. They're still going to be delicate and small by the time they winter over. But what I have found is that if you do that, then the next spring, instead of having that like first year perennial that really doesn't do a whole heck of a lot, you'll have more of like a second year perennial. I mean, technically it's a second year for it, and it will behave a lot more like a second year perennial. So it will get big and full and like gorgeous and beautiful much faster. So I think I've been looking at so many flower seeds, and flower seeds are just so fun. In my heart of hearts, I just love flowers. So I've been looking at some Rudbeckia, some Echinacea. I have some, but I think I might want to get some more, some yarrow, some Agastaki. The Agastaki seems to be the only thing that I can grow outside of the deer fence that the deer are not really eating, like knock on wood. So I think I might try to find some different varieties and different colors of those. And then like traditional perennials. There's a few, I'm trying to think what other, once I order all these seeds, I'll definitely show them to you. But I'm still in the process of figuring out what I want to get. And I figured if you're going to grow along with me, like you need to probably like start ordering these things now, just like me. So yeah, I might do some daisies because I've heard some of them are fairly deer resistant. We'll see. For some of the other areas, I want to start a bunch of lamb's ear for some of my like landscape areas up by the house. I want to start, I'm trying to think what other like really solid, I think just like, foxglove. That's it. I want to do a bunch of foxglove for my outside of the deer fence gardens as well, because foxglove are like totally poisonous and the deer won't touch them. And that's what I need. So I'm going to do some foxgloves for outside the fence, for inside the fence. And then I may throw in some other annual seeds for the next season, but I won't be starting those in fall. But yeah, I want to order a few perennials. I'm trying to be careful not to get myself too far ahead. But some of those like just classic perennials, they're fun to start outside. Now, here's the other caveat with that though, is that some perennials need to have like cold stratification. They need to have a cold period for their seeds. So if you're going to be like trying to sow them in July outside, you just need to think about whether or not they've had that cold period or if they need that. I'm thinking like Joe Pye weed, which I kind of have I've tried unsuccessfully to start Joe Pye weed from seed several different ways, several different methods. I've never done it. And I'm like, should I try to buy more seeds or should I just go buy a couple Joe Pye weed plants at this point? You know, it might be more to the point to just go buy some Joe Pye weed plants. So we'll see. I'm trying to right now I'm making those calculations of like, what do I want to just get from the garden center, big and beautiful and ready to go, like either this summer or just next summer. What is it worth it to try to start from seed? Things like the lamb's ear, where it's like I want to plant a ton of lamb's ear. I have a bunch of different areas where I want to do it. Should be deer resistant. I have a bunch of areas where I want to do it. Like I want to have, 20 something plants. So it just makes total sense for me to start those from seed rather than trying to go buy 20 lamb's ear plants. So that's kind of the calculations I'm trying to make right now. But it is time, which is unbelievable. It is time to start thinking about the fall garden and start making those plans and start getting ready to start those seedlings. It's getting dark out here. You can probably hear all the nighttime wild things screaming. So I'm gonna head inside before it gets totally dark. I still have to give the bunnies their dinner. But yeah, that's the plans right now. That's what to be thinking about. That's what I'm thinking about. As I said, I will keep you posted as the orders come in, and we see, what I got, and I'll let you know what varieties and everything I end up picking. I'm trying to be really careful, especially with the perennials, that I really take my time, really think about what I want. I'm not wasting, seeds and wasting money on seeds, and that ultimately it's going to fit in with my garden plans, which, if have changed a lot this year. So it feels a little risky even buying some perennial seeds, but it's just so much more cost effective. So if I can get a few things started from seed, I think it'll be worth it. So anyways, thank you so much for watching, and let's talk soon.